They said the rancher's heart died the night she left. But when he saw her again, trembling, whispering, "Please, not again," the silence of 3 years shattered like glass. Some wounds heal with time, but some return wearing the same eyes, the same voice, and the same heartbreak. The sun was slipping behind the red hills when Luke Carver rode back to his ranch, dust clinging to his boots and sorrow clinging deeper to his soul. The long stretch of land around him, the same fences, the same wind through dry grass, looked peaceful. But inside Luke's chest, a storm had never quieted. 3 years had passed since that night, the night he swore never to love again, never to let anyone close enough to break him the way she did. But the land has its ways of healing a man, slow, steady, like rain softening the hard ground. Luke thought he had moved on, until that evening when he found her again. He'd gone into town for supplies, nails, feed, a few things for the horses. The small general store still smelled of pine wood and flour, just like it always had. But that day, behind the counter stood a girl he'd never seen before. Or maybe he had. Her hair was tied back, and her hands shook slightly as she handed change to an old man. There was something about her face, pale but gentle, like she'd seen too much and spoken too little. When her eyes met Luke's, it was like time fell still. She froze, and so did he. Her lips trembled as she whispered, barely audible, "Please." "Not again." Luke frowned, confused. "I'm sorry, ma'am. Have we met?" Her eyes darted away. "No," she said quickly. But her voice had that same crack, that same quiet tremor that used to haunt his dreams. He paid for his supplies, but his heart didn't leave that store. He found himself staring at her through the window as she wiped the counter, her shoulders shaking every now and then, like she was holding back tears. Something deep inside him stirred, something he thought was long gone. That night, back at the ranch, the silence felt heavier. The stars were bright, but they couldn't chase away the questions. Who was she? Why did her voice sound like Emily's, the woman he once loved? The one who vanished without a trace. Luke had buried Emily's memory with every sunrise, or at least he thought he had. She'd left a letter saying she couldn't stay, that some pains were too deep to heal, and he respected that. Until now, when a girl with the same eyes whispered the same words. Emily said the night she walked away, "Please, not again." The next morning he couldn't help himself. He rode back into town. The store was empty except for her. She looked startled when he entered, clutching her apron. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. Luke took off his hat, trying to sound calm. "I don't mean to trouble you. You remind me of someone." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she turned away. That someone doesn't exist anymore. Luke's breath caught. "The way." She said it, and the brokenness, the guilt, it tore at something deep inside him. "Emily," he whispered. She flinched like he'd hit her. He stepped closer, his voice trembling. "You're alive." She turned to him finally, eyes filled with the weight of years. "Alive," she said bitterly, "but not the same." "Please, Luke. Not again. Don't make me relive it." For a moment Luke couldn't speak. He had imagined this reunion 1,000 times, but never like this, not with fear in her eyes. "What happened to you?" he asked. Emily shook her head. "You don't want to know. Some things, they're better left buried. If you care about me, let me go." But Luke wasn't that man anymore. He had built his life on silence and fences around his heart, around his pain. But love, true love, doesn't die. It waits. "I can't," he said softly. "You walked away once. I won't let you walk into the dark again without knowing why." Emily's lips quivered. "You still don't understand," she whispered. "They'll come for me if they know I'm here." Luke's eyes hardened. "Then they'll have to come through me first." For the first time in years, a small tear slipped down her cheek. "You haven't changed," she said quietly. "Still the same foolish heart." He smiled faintly. "Maybe, but that foolish heart still beats for you." She looked away, whispering, "It shouldn't." As Luke stood there, staring at her fragile figure, he realized something. This wasn't the same woman who'd left him. This was someone who'd seen darkness, someone who'd been running from something far worse than heartbreak. "Tell me," he said gently. "What are you running from, Emily?" She looked at him then, really looked at him, and the pain in her eyes could have shattered stone. From the man who took everything from me, and who'll take you too if you're not careful. Before Luke could speak, the bell above the store door jingled. A tall stranger entered, his eyes cold and searching. Emily instantly froze. The man smiled, cruelly polite. "Evening, ma'am," he said. Then his gaze shifted to Luke. "You the rancher from Dry Creek?" Luke nodded slowly. "That's right." The man grinned. "Good. We'll be seeing each other soon." He tipped his hat and left, just like that. But the fear that flashed across Emily's face told Luke everything. Whoever that man was, he was the reason she disappeared. When the door closed, Emily whispered, trembling, "Please, Luke, don't get involved." "Not again." But Luke's jaw set. "You came back into my life for a reason," he said firmly. "And I don't care who he is. No one's hurting you again." As he walked out of the store, the evening wind brushed against his face, carrying the scent of dust and danger. He knew the path ahead would be painful, maybe even deadly, but he also knew one thing: this time, he wouldn't let go. Because some loves are meant to be protected no matter the cost. And for the viewers listening right now, sometimes life gives you one more chance to make things right, to stand for love, to protect what matters. Don't turn away from it. If Luke's story touched your heart tonight, make sure you subscribe, because what's coming next will shake this quiet ranch town forever.